So let us look at how we can sketch this logarithmic function. So the most important thing that we are supposed to understand is sketching logarithmic function is very easy. And one thing I want you to understand is that logarithmic function has got what we call the vertical asymptote. Okay. So now here, because there is one on top, to make things simple and straightforward, I'm going to change this to be ln. If there is one on top, that's the same as 2 minus x raised to the power -1. I can put -1 outside because I know that if I have got 1 over x is same as x to the power -1. The property of log allows me to shift the power to come in front, so that becomes negative log 2 minus x, like that. When I come at this point now, when you're sketching logarithmic functions, you equate what is inside equal to three things. 1, you equate equal to 0. 2, you equate equal to 1. Then you equate equal to the base. Ln is always in base e. What I want you to understand is that the one you are equating equal to 0 is what we call the vertical asymptote. So if I shift x to go to the other side, I'll see that x will be equal to 2, meaning that my vertical asymptote is that x is equal to 2. At the same time, the second one is 2 minus x is equal to 1. Then if I shift 1 to come this side and x to go to the other side, x will be equal to 1. Then for this other one, if I shift x to go to the other side, e to go to the other side, that becomes 2 minus e is equal to x. So I've got two coordinates for x. So when x is equal to 1 and when x is equal to 2 minus e, what will be the values of y? Let's see. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start now plugging in the values. So I have got ln, negative ln 2, where there is x we put 1. That becomes negative ln of 1. Ln 1 or log 1 regardless of any base is 0. Okay, so it will be 0 times negative, it becomes 0. Now we go again, it will be negative ln 2 minus, where there is x we put 2 minus e. So that becomes negative ln 2. If I open the bracket to become negative, then here positive e. So that becomes this 2 and 2 will go, and that is e. Ln e is negative, or is 1, because ln is always in base e. So you see, ln base e of e is 1, so that becomes -1. So these are the coordinates that I have. After finding these coordinates, I can come back now and sketch this. So I have got my vertical asymptote at x is equal to 2, which is here. I need to draw a line cutting this point. Okay, when I do this, now in x I have got 1, so I'm going to put 1 here. E is approximately 2.718. So if I say 2 minus e, I want it to be 2 minus e, that becomes negative 0.718 something. So that number becomes approximate here. So here I'll put 2 minus e. When I do this, in y I have got -1 and 0. Now we can go ahead and look at our graph. 1, 0 is here. Then 2 minus e, -1 is there. What does it tell us? Starting from the asymptote closer, touching these 2 points, going this side. That is my graph. So that's the basic idea behind this graph. Now, how can you find the domain of this graph? To find the domain of log, we look at the asymptote. So the domain, it will start from the asymptote. So we can clearly see that it keeps on going all the way to negative infinity. So that becomes negative infinity all the way to the vertical asymptote, but not included. If you don't understand this method, get what is inside, equate it greater than 0, and solve for x. Okay? So if we solve for x, provided that on top here we don't have anything, this is going to give us 2 minus x, then greater than 0. So if we solve for x, shift 2 to go to the other side, it will be negative x greater than negative 2. If I divide both sides by negative, the sign changes. So this tells me that x should be less than 2. So starting from negative infinity, less than 2, these are not included. So that becomes my domain. So that's how we find the domain of the logarithmic functions. Now, what of the range? The range of logs doesn't change. So for any log, you can clearly see we don't know where it has started from, we don't know where it's going to end. For any log, the range is from negative infinity to positive infinity. That's the basic idea. So that is it about this question.